How you doing, guys? BC90 here, back with the next video in my Poise showcase series, and today guys I'm going to be revisiting Ledo's Greathammer. Now, I did make a showcase video in part 19 of my series looking at Ledo's Greathammer, but at the time this was prior to Buff the Fug's data, which actually showcased that Ledo's is one of the weapons that has altered Poise health and Poise breakpoint modifiers, which means that you can essentially min-max your Poise with it a little bit more effectively than I showcased in that previous video. And on top of that, that video was prior to the Prisoner's Chain alteration, so prior to that patch, so I wasn't using the Prisoner's Chain, so basically it was a suboptimal build. And because this weapon is so majestic, guys, I feel that I have to do an update video with it, min-maxing out Poise to make this absolute Poise titan. Now, going straight over to my status page here, guys, I'm at soul level 125, and those are my stats there, guys. I am using the Prisoner's Chain, so remember that's an extra 5 points in Vigor, Endurance, and Vitality. And going over to my equipment page here, we have Ledo's Greathammer at +5. Gets an A scaling in strength. It does take 60 strength to wield, so it's a big investment. But with my current stats here, two-handed, we're getting 662 AR. Now, with the weapon art, it's like a buff as well. So that goes up to 712 AR, which is quite impressive, guys, as this weapon cannot be infused or buffed. Now, back over to my equipment page here, I have a Blessed Caestus +10 in my left hand as a parrying tool, and also for the 2 HP regen per tick of passive regen, or health regen. I have the Knight's Crossbow +10 here with lightning bolts. Now, I normally like using the Arbalist, but as you can see up there, my weight ratio is at 69.3%, so the Knight's Crossbow is the second best option. And I also have a Dark Longsword +9 here in my left hand. Now, normally I have a heavy longsword instead of a dark longsword, but I will explain in a minute why it is dark instead of heavy. Now, over here in my second right hand slot, I have a Priest Chime, and a Priest Chime here is essentially for HP regen. As you can see, I do have replenishment here, guys, and when you use replenishment at the start of a match, it lasts 60 seconds and you get approximately 5 HP regen per tick. Now, this stacks with the Blessed Caestus for a total of 7 HP regen per tick, which is quite good, guys. You may not notice it, but it does actually make quite a difference, especially in these heavy Poise builds that rely on trades. So essentially you're going to be taking damage to dish out damage, so having passive regen is actually quite good for you, as it'll let you, be able to trade more, essentially be able to take more hits and go in for more trades and come out on top. So I do advocate passive HP regen in pretty much all of these heavy Poise builds, just to increase your trading capacity here, guys. Now, back over to the build here, I have the Black Iron Helm, the Gundyr's Armour, Ring Knight Gauntlets, and Gundyr's Leggings for a total Poise there of 42.27. Now, going back to Buff the Fug's data, essentially with Ledo's Greathammer here, guys, you only need 42.16 Armourpoise to hit that ceiling breakpoint. So that means once you're above 42.16 Armourpoise with Ledo's Greathammer, you can effectively infinitely tank every two-handed R1 in the game from every weapon class, including from other Greathammers. So essentially what I've done here is min-maxed my Poise, because normally with Greathammers you need 45.85 Poise to hit that ceiling breakpoint. So by lowering that breakpoint here, we've effectively min-maxed. We don't need to use Havel's armor, and the extra equip load I've used for all this versatility here in my weapon slots. Now, down to the rings, we're using the Chloranthy Ring +3, the Prisoner's Chain, the Ring of Favor +3, and Havel's Ring +3. Now, why am I using a Dark Longsword here, guys? Basically, it's for versatility. As I've mentioned in a lot of these videos, I like having versatility in my weapon slots to deal with what would typically be bad matchups when you just use a heavy weapon on its own. And essentially, if you do use a heavy longsword, I mean, that's fine, you're going to get more AR out of it, but when you come up against a meta setup, so essentially something like the Black Knight Shield with a Lothric Knight Straight Sword, you're not going to have much options there to counter that, essentially. They can play extremely passively if they want to, they have a speed advantage, and you won't be able to break past that shield. So essentially, with a dark infused longsword here as our fast weapon option, we can chip through shields. Now, it's not a lot of chip damage, but essentially it is chip damage. So basically it adds pressure. Okay, you have a tool here to create a bit of pressure against that particular setup, and essentially if they make one mistake, you're going to get a big 2-hit combo from Ledos. That's 2/3 of their life bar gone, and you can quite feasibly finish them off here by chipping through their shield if they try and block you. Not only that, but it's about playing that mental game, guys, and if you have something that can chip through that shield and counter that particular setup, it sort of throws your opponent off a little bit. And it gives you the opportunity to capitalize on mistakes, okay, and bait for trades, alright? Now, going back over to my status page here, as you can see with my stats there, the 15 investment in faith is to bump up the damage of the dark longsword a little bit. As you can see, it's still not, it's still not fantastic. It's only 368 AR, but essentially it's a harassing tool. I've got it there to deal with quick step users. I got it there to chip through shields. I have it there to finish people off, to create a bit of pressure. So essentially it's not our main damage output. Obviously that's going to be Ledos, and we're going to be baiting for trades to use Ledos, as we can practically poise through every attack or every two-handed R1 in the game in an infinite capacity. So essentially it's a harassing tool there, and also it helps us deal with unfavorable matchups, especially quick step users, and also to provide a little bit of a counter to those shield meta setups. Now, I will say that at this soul level 125, if you wanted to, you can get rid of those 6 points in faith and instead pop them all in strength, and that gives you a 66 strength build with this particular setup that also has optimal min-maxed poise. Now, I was tempted to do that instead, but like I said, I prefer meta versatility because it makes you a bit more viable in my opinion, and with that setup of just having a max damage Ledo's Greathammer and a heavy longsword, you really have little in the way of options when you do fight a meta shield setup. Obviously you can get really good at predicting when your opponent is going to open up, because they have to open to actually hit you and force a trade, but doing that against someone who is not very predictable is not very consistent, and I'd rather have something that can actually chip through them and provide a bit of pressure. So a bit of a pressure build up, and essentially it makes this build more viable in my opinion. And on top of that, we have replenishment there for that HP regen, and I've discussed in a lot of videos why I think that is very important here with your heavy poise builds, because essentially you're going to need that extra HP to go in for that next trade and come out on top, guys. So that's pretty much the build here. We're min-max with our poise. We have a lot of options here for versatility, in the meta game, and our stats I think are pretty evenly spaced out. So yeah, let's go straight into some matches here, guys, and see how we go with this updated version of Ledo's Greathammer. Alrighty, guys, here we go. Looks like we have a caster there that has the hazel pick, and also it looks like a court sorcerer's staff, though I could be wrong. Let's pick him apart here with our crossbow. Okay, the moonlight sword doesn't hit very often. Nicely done there with the hazel pick. Got to be careful here. He may have easily been going for the backstab there. Got you again there, buddy. Nice combo there. And GG. Alrighty, guys, straight on to the next match. Very passive straight sword user. This is going to be fun. Nice big trades. And GG capitalized on that rebuff there, guys. Alrighty, guys, straight onto the next match. Thanks, dude. It's alright, we'll play the passive game, get that HP we lost back. Nope. Waiting for that weapon art. Walked into that one, didn't ya? Fell for that bait. So the R2 into the R1 is still an effective bait there, guys, that you can use with any Greathammer, including Ledo's. And GG. Alrighty, guys, next match. Got a katana user with Dark Moon Blade. Almost got him. Bang! Okay, switched over to Yorm's great machete. Don't worry. We outpoise him. GG. Alrighty, guys, straight onto the next match. Thought he was going to rush us down there for a second. Possible. This guy's just going to be passively dodging everything, looks like. Yeah, we'll just poise through that weapon art, no dramas. Alrighty, guys, next up in the arena. I know exactly what game we're playing here, buddy. Gotcha! Whoop! Just missed that. Nope. We ain't gonna fall for those shenanigans. Oh, should have shot him there. Idiot. Ooh, we just missed. GG. Alrighty guys, next match. Straight sword and shield over there. Caught him there with the second one. Almost got cornered. Let's try bait. There we go. R2 into the R1. Gotta love it. Always gotta make sure you have a little bit of stamina there, guys, just to roll out. Nice dodge. Switch it up a bit here, guys. Switch it up. Ooh, GG. Alrighty guys, straight on to the next match. Just dodge that. Oh, nice big hits there. GG. Alrighty guys, straight on to the next match here. Looks like we have a Havel with the Valor Heart for some reason. It's not a poise weapon, so can't imagine what he's trying to do there. Maybe he likes the defenses. Nicely done there, mate. Nicely done. We are getting a little bit of lag. Gotcha. Nope. Oh, should have gone for the riposte there. Idiot. Nice big hit. And there you go, GG. Alrighty guys, let's go for one last match here today. Looks like we have the Lothric Knight Sword over there, or Lothric Knight Ultra Great Sword, and a fucking shitload of lag. Jesus Christ. Gotta love these ultimate laggy matches with the potato Wi-Fi guys. I mean, look at this shit. I absolutely have no idea where this guy is. Holy motherfucking moly. Holy shit. We finally hit this guy? Fucking hell. This is the absolute worst. Katana. GG. Alrighty guys, so that brings us to the end of the video here, revisiting Ledo's Greathammer. And what can I say about this absolute beast of a weapon? Well look, it's a very high risk, high reward type of weapon. Now look, it's got steep stat requirements here at 60 strength, so you really need to invest in it, essentially. You need a build focused around it, so it needs to be a strength build. But obviously, because its Poise breakpoint values are modified, meaning you only need 42.16 Poise to hit that ceiling breakpoint and effectively be able to infinitely hyper armor trade against every two-handed R1 in the game. You can lower your vitality a little bit there, not wear Havels, and hit that ceiling breakpoint, so it does give you the room to invest those points in strength in order to hit that 60 requirement. Now, as you can see, it is quite heavy as well at 28 units, but this is mitigated by the fact that, you know, it's the end of the game's life cycle here, guys. We have, you know, the Prisoner's Chain, the Ring of Favor +3, Havel's Ring +3, and, you know, a decent amount of vitality here to keep us below 70% weight ratio, so no fat rolling, and also allowing us to have all these different weapons in our secondary slots to up our versatility in the meta. So maining a heavy weapon these days that weighs a lot isn't such a big deal anymore, so I don't really consider it that much of a weakness these days, but it does have that steep requirement of 60 strength, so you really need to pretty much have a strength build for this particular weapon. Now obviously I've got a bit of a variation here by having a bit of faith for the dark longsword to chip through shields when I need to, and also for some HP regen, but that's completely up to you. This build has the room for you to take those points out of faith and pop them into strength if you want to hit that 66 strength cap, while also being min-maxed completely with your Poise using Ledo's Greathammer. Now, another thing, guys, like all Greathammers, it is quite slow and stamina intensive, so you really need to play patiently, you know, in the metagame, guys. You can't just go in there swinging wildly and expending all of your stamina, because you're going to get absolutely shit on. So Be careful with your stamina, always bait for trades or look for openings for trades, and the good thing about this weapon is it has a really dynamic moveset. So once you master its particular moveset, especially its weapon art that actually boosts its AR, when you can use its dynamic moveset in combination with your poise, you're going to be trading like a monster. And obviously guys, like I showcased in this video, the R2 into the R1 is still a valid combo that a lot of people fall for. Now in terms of its damage at 60 strength with the weapon art, 712 AR is pretty good. It's quite solid here guys, so it's awesome in my opinion. I absolutely love this weapon, and I think it's one of the better Greathammers for your heavy poise builds, especially because it has those modified poise breakpoint values, so you can essentially min-max your poise and have a build that has this weapon as its main while hitting that ceiling breakpoint and also having a lot of meta versatility in your secondary slots. Okay, so out of the 3 Greathammers that have modified poise breakpoint values, so this, Smalls, and Morne's, which I made a video of in my last video, this one is probably the best in my opinion out of those 3 with the modified poise breakpoint values, and it also hits the hardest after you buff it up there with the weapon art. Now that's about it guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you're enjoying my content, please subscribe, and as always guys, thank you for watching.